message for Thomas White. Your account is currently scheduled for suspension. Please contact us back today at 833-647-1660.
I want to do an unusual philosophizing about side hustles, because I think one way of watching these sorts of videos, I do these videos, a bunch of other YouTubers do these sorts of videos. One way of watching these is to just be like, oh, I just want to click ahead. I just want to see what side hustle idea, this magical way of making money. But there is no magical way of making money. The only way to make money is by providing value to people who can pay for that value. That is the first law of making money. But because a lot of people are looking for this magic bullet, they'll just kind of skip ahead. Maybe if you want, there's going to be timestamps below. Feel free to skip ahead in this video. You'll see the stuff. It'll be fairly basic stuff. You'll be like, cool, yep, nope, this isn't for me. I couldn't do this. And you'll continue to be broke because you don't understand how making money actually works. And the thing is, making money is a skill. When you understand the skill, when you understand the laws of making money, when you understand how they work, you won't need to watch videos about how all these different side hustle ideas. Instead, you'll be able to apply the principles to your own skills in your own life and your own context. And maybe a few years from now, you might be making videos like this, teaching people how to make money on the internet. So let's start with a big question. Why are we even talking about this? Occasionally I see a comment on my video being like, oh my God, Ali Abdaal is so obsessed with money. The only videos he makes are talking about side hustles. It's like, no, it's not the only videos I make. I also make videos about productivity and about health and about sleep and about relationships and about dating and all this. But I do enjoy making videos about side hustles and passive income. Why? Because side hustles have completely and utterly changed my life. And I'm hoping that if you're watching this, then you're potentially interested in building another source of income, because it's not really about the money. It's about the freedom that that money can buy you. And ideally, you want your mechanism for generating money to not be tied to one single source of employment. A lot of people found that they lost their jobs during the pandemic, and there was this whole boom in people realizing, oh crap, reliance on a single source of income is actually not a particularly anti-fragile way of living, especially in places like the US, where your health insurance is also tied to your employer. And now you've got even more of these shackles attached to the job. And if you enjoy the job and it brings you meaning and fulfillment and joy, and you love hanging out with your coworkers and you look forward to Mondays, then great, fantastic. But you are in the lucky 1% of people who have those boxes ticked when it comes to their jobs. For most of the rest of us, yes, we might enjoy our jobs, and I certainly enjoyed my day job when I was working as a doctor. You might enjoy the job, but you still would appreciate an extra $2K a month coming in the bank account. All of this means that if you can get to a point where you've got 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe a few extra sources of income coming into your bank account every month, you just unlock the ability to live life on your own terms. You get freedom from doing the things you don't want to do, and you get freedom to do the things that you do want to do. In my case, I started out doing side hustles when I was 13 years old with web design. That was my first side hustle that I did for about 6 years. And that was how I made my first few $100s on the internet. My second side hustle was private tutoring, and I was helping people in real life. I was teaching them maths and science for their exams. I was making somewhere between $5 and $20 an hour from the age of like 14 to like 21 when I was doing private tutoring. My third side hustle was when I was in medical school. I started a company that helped people get into medical school. So I ran courses up and down the country. And this side hustle, which I did while I was a student, made around $40,000 a year in profit for me personally. So that was the amount I was taking home. Now, this was amazing because it meant that A, I didn't have to worry about money while I was at university. But B, it also meant that, again, while I was a student, I managed to combine incomes because I had an income with my brother who had a real job. And we managed to get a mortgage on a flat. And then my most recent side hustle was starting this YouTube channel way back in 2017. And after 3 years of doing it, this YouTube channel started making over $1 million a year while it was a side hustle, while I was a student, and while I was working full-time as a doctor. And the fact that the YouTube channel was making so much money, and the business around it, which started off as a side hustle, meant that I decided, you know what, I'm going to take a break from full-time medicine and I'm going to go all in on this YouTube channel. And so the reason I'm so passionate about talking about side hustles is because they have genuinely changed my life from the age of 13 up to the age of 26 when I quit medicine. And I'm hoping that you'll think, you know what, I'm going to make it a point to start some sort of side hustle because I want extra sources of income. My friends are going to tell me, you're obsessed with money, you're a greedy pig, etc., etc. Why do you need money? Why not just enjoy your job? Why not appreciate the simpler things in life? And you'll think, I do appreciate all those things, but I also like the idea of living life on my own terms. And therefore, I'm going to create an alternative stream of income to my day job or to my student life or whatever the main thing is that you're doing. Okay, so that was the why behind side hustles. Let's now talk about the how. So we talked about the first law of making money. You make money when you provide value to people who are delighted to pay for that value. And I'm going to underline the word delighted because that's a good frame of mind to be in when it comes to making money. Now, there are broadly 3 vehicles for providing this value. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to say that number 1 is services, number 2 is products, and number 3 is content. So with a service business, you're providing a service to someone who's willing to pay for that service, someone who's delighted to pay for that service. With a product business, you're creating a product and selling it to people who are delighted to pay for it. And with a content business, which sort of takes a little bit of both, you're essentially creating free content and then you're putting it on platforms where the monetization happens through the platform. And so essentially advertisers are the ones who are delighted to pay for the attention you're generating through your content. Now in this video, the side hustle ideas, we've got 2 when it comes to the content side, and we've got 4 when it comes to the services side. I'm not going to talk about the product side of things in this video. I'll do that in a different video because product.
Question: what is the best e-commerce business to start today? Is it dropshipping from China and selling on Shopify? Long delivery time, low margins, and communication issues? Nope. Or, oh God, is it Amazon FBA? Upfront inventory, long storage fees, and competition from Amazon themselves? Definitely not. What if I told you there is a new e-com business model that has all the advantages of Shopify and FBA, but none of the downsides? It is called the AI e-com business. And using this business model, you do not have to worry about dropshipping from China or long shipping times. On top of that, you don't need to buy inventory up front, so you don't have to pay a single storage fee. In fact, only pay for products after you sell them and get money in your pocket. Now let's pretend I have a shirt pocket. So unlike Amazon FBA, there are no sunk costs if you haven't sold anything. That's why the risk is really low and you don't need a lot of money to start. And yet, you can make huge margins of over 50%. Now, that is how our student Tiffany made 6 figures in just 1 month. And you don't need any prior experience to do this. David was a newbie to ecom, but he made $3,000 in just a single week. And Michael sold 5,000 units within a few weeks of starting. All it takes is 1 hour a day for you to work on this, and you can potentially make additional hundreds or thousands of dollars every single month. If you want to know more about this AI ecom business model, just click on the link below this video for more information. Hi, by the way. My name is Devin Zander, and I run a multiple 7-figure e-commerce business, and I'm the founder of Scup, an e-commerce education company. And over the past 6 years, we've been helping business owners to grow their e-com scores to 5 figures or more in as little as a few weeks. And we personally scaled our e-com business to 18,699,000 last year. Now, I'm excited to tell you about this AI business model because it is an untapped hidden niche in the marketplace, which means it's unsaturated, there's low competition, so you can get high margins. Even better, the demand in this niche is evergreen, so there are always people looking to buy this product all year round. That means that you can make consistent sales throughout the year and have a stable cash flow. Plus, according to Fortune Business Insight, a global market research company, this industry is expected to double in size and grow to a $60 billion market by 2027, which means the demand for this product is only going to keep growing in the future. So if you get in now, you'll have the first mover advantage and get a larger piece of the pie before other people start jumping in. Imagine having more time for yourself and for your loved ones. Imagine achieving financial freedom while working fewer hours.
Is an interesting kind of category. And then the final thing is that generally when it comes to side hustles, we want our side hustles to fulfill 3 specific needs for us. We want our side hustles to ideally give us flexibility. For example, you probably don't want your side hustle to be working shifts at the local supermarket, because if you do, that's not very flexible. You are tied to a specific location and you're generally tied to a specific time. Secondly, ideally, we want our side hustles to be fun. We want them to be things that ideally don't feel like work. If you can find the thing that feels like play to you but looks like work to other people, you're way more likely to A, enjoy it, B, way more likely to be sustainable, and C, you're way more likely to make a lot of money as a result of the thing. And then the third F is obviously we want our side hustle to generate some kind of finance, so we want the return on investment to be at least reasonable over the long term. Generally, the side hustles that people like me would recommend, and I still stand by this, are side hustles that are enabled by the internet. Because when you start a side hustle selling something digital on the internet broadly, or even something physical on the internet, you're benefiting from flexibility because you can work whenever you want. You're benefiting from fun because there are tons and tons and tons of different ways of doing stuff on the internet. You can definitely find something that's fun. And you're benefiting from the finance as well because you can attract buyers from all around the world rather than just in your specific geographical area. I'm going to be showing you lots of examples of people who've done this sort of side hustle thing. The idea is not, hey, let me do exactly what this person did. The idea is that we learn from their example and we figure out, cool, what are the principles we can learn from what they did, and how can we apply it to our own life and our own context and our own skills and our own enjoyment, and how can we turn that into some kind of extra source of income? So having said all of that, and I have literally no idea how long this video is going on for, let's now go on to the actual 6 side hustle ideas for students, and we'll see how they fit into this broad framework. So let's start with side hustle idea number 1, which is to be a writer. And this fits very nicely into the content branch of what we're trying to do here. And the example I want to use here is a guy called Jack Rains, who has a fantastic newsletter that he started while he was a student, and I actually think he still is a student at Columbia Business School. So around 2 years ago, Jack decided to start a newsletter talking about finance, talking about travel, basically topics that he was interested in. And at this point, now that he's been doing this for over 2 years,
every month, this Airbnb pays me about $2,700 in semi-passive income. And here's the thing, I don't own it and I don't pay any rent. I haven't even put a single penny into this property and it pays me daily without obligation or
He's got a few tens of thousands of readers on his blog. And every time he sends a newsletter, he's able to charge around $1,400 per ad. And so if he does 4 newsletter issues a week, that's 1,400 times 4, which is $5,600 a month by writing on the internet as a side hustle. But essentially what Jack is doing is following the classic content model of a writer, which is that you write things regularly and over time you build an audience of people who are interested in your work. And then you can start to monetize by selling sponsorships on your work to companies who are then delighted to sponsor your newsletter, for example. But Jack isn't just limited to making money from his newsletter. He also makes money from consulting calls. So he has a little tab on his website called Consulting Calls, and you can book a 45-minute meeting with him for $300. And honestly, this is a really solid business model in total. This is how writers are making money on the internet. If you want a way more detailed dive into the 5 different ways to make $1 million on the internet as a writer, you should check out this video over here, which is an episode of my deep dive podcast that I did with Nicholas Cole. And Cole has literally written the book on how to make money as a writer. It's called The Art and Business of Online Writing, How to Beat the Game of Capturing and Keeping Attention. And one of the really nice things about writing as a side hustle is that the barrier to entry is so low. It's basically zero. You can create an account on Substack or Beehive completely for free, so you'll get a website. You won't have to pay a penny for it. All you need is like a computer or a phone with an internet connection, and you can start writing from anywhere in the world, and you can reach an audience of people anywhere in the world, again, provided the content is good. And good doesn't necessarily mean you need to write like Ernest Hemingway or whatever. Good just means that people get value from your content. And to be honest, if you want to go down this path, here is a top tip. If, for example, you want to get in touch with Jack, what you could do is, for example, check out his blog. You could read all the last 200 issues of his newsletter or whatever, however many there are. And then you could drop him an email being like, hey, Jack, I've binged everything you've ever written. And because of that, I was inspired to start my own. And I've written 10 issues of my own blog. Here's a link. But I'm stuck right now because I've got questions A, B, and C. Would love to hop on a quick 20-minute call with you just to ask you a few of these questions. What do you say? Now, something like that, if someone like Jack were reading this, they'd probably think, damn, this guy's pretty cool. A, they've read all my stuff. So, automatically that filters out like basically everyone in the population because no one bothers to read. But secondly, you've demonstrated that you're actually doing the work, and therefore people like me, people like Jack, people on the internet who have done the work are way more likely to say yes to a hangout with you because they know that you have done the work as well. By the way, in case you didn't know, I also have a weekly newsletter that I've been writing for the last 5.5 years, since April 2018, and I've been writing that every week. It's called Sunday Snippets. You can check it out completely for free down in the video description, or you can go to aliabdal.com/Sunday, and that will let you sign up. Basically, every week I share some thoughts and some lessons that I've learned and some books I'm reading and some recommended articles and stuff. And people generally find it quite helpful. I think we've got about 400,000 people who get that email. So, you'll be in good company. Now, once you've started making some money with these side hustles or anything else, then you're going to need a place to invest it. And that is where the sponsor of this video comes in. And that is Trading 212. Trading 212 is a fantastic app that allows you to invest in stocks and shares and funds in a commission-free fashion. And they've got a bunch of really cool features, which is why I personally use them to manage a portion of my portfolio. So firstly, they've got a great pies and auto invest feature. So the pies thing is basically that there's a bunch of people on the internet who do a lot of research into stocks and shares and stuff. And what they do is they create a pie, which is sort of a basket of like stocks and shares and funds and things. And what you can do is you can look at other people's pies. You can see what percentage allocation they've got in different stocks and shares, and you can just copy and paste it into your own account. And then however much money you want to invest, you can invest in that specific pie, and it will automatically allocate it to those assets. And you can also create your own pie with your own asset allocation, and then you can see how that's performing against the other people, and you can share that pie with other people as well. It's a really cool feature. They've also recently added support for multi-currency accounts, and this is really helpful because if, like me, you invest a lot of your money in a US stock market index fund like the S&P 500, then you won't get hit with the foreign exchange fees that you get when you're investing from Europe. And if you have an Invest or an ISA account, then Trading 212 will also pay you interest on any uninvested cash you have. And that's in pounds or in euros or in US dollars. Now, if any of this sounds up your street and you would like to get a completely free share up to the value of £100, then check out the link in the video description, and that will guide you through this page on exactly how you
Shopify helps aspiring business owners, like Nona Lucia here, turn their passion into a product.
can set up the app and how you can claim your.
Hello?
Hey, Owner, how are you?
I'm okay.
Wonderful. Mr. Owner, my name is Shankar Today I'm offering you 250 pills of 60 milligram Cialis for $100.
Okay, my friend.
Sounds good?
Are you my brother?
Oh, sorry?
I said, okay, my friend. Are you my brother?
Oh, no, my name is Sean Lewis.
Sean Lewis, the Gandu Devadasi.
So do you need Cialis 60 milligram? Like, if you want, I can give you at very affordable price. Like as I told you, 250 tablets for $100.
I need land petrol Gandu.
That's what?
I need land petrol Gandu. Pausarike Makitude.
Free share. So thank you so much, Trading212, for sponsoring this video and continuing to support the channel. And let's get back to the video. All right, side hustle idea number 2 is to be a content curator. Now, this is distinct from a content creator. Content creator, I mean, it's all semantics, but a content creator, I would say, is someone who creates content, whereas a content curator is someone who curates what other people have already created. So there's a bunch of interesting ways of doing this. And one example is this guy, Eduardo Morales, who has an Instagram account called Pinlord, and basically decided to create a business where he curates and sells enamel pins. Yeah, it's kind of weird. And Eduardo grew his Instagram account Pinlord from 0 to over 100,000 followers on Instagram in less than 2 years. And according to this article, he makes $3,500 a month from this business that he's got. Now, first point to say here is that 2 years is pretty quick. If you're watching this and thinking, oh shit, it took him a whole 2 years to start making a full-time income, then you have got the whole money thing completely wrong. It's going to take time, especially if you're trying to make stuff in the content business or in the product business, which are J-curve businesses. But I'll talk more about that in a second. It does take time to do this stuff. Let's take medicine, for example. That is a 6-year degree and then a 10-year training pathway, at least in the UK, to then be making $3K a month, $4K a month, $5K a month. So you can't really have the audacity to say that you want all this money and all this freedom and all this fun and flexibility and stuff without also putting in the work for a very long period of time. But anyway, I just want to read you a quote from Eduardo. Last month, I made over $3,500 from my Instagram. Before starting Pinlord, the repost account where I curate and sell enamel pins, I had no experience building a social media or online business. I'm also not an influencer. I'm not particularly social, and I definitely don't have a fun and exciting life to show off on Instagram. I learned how to monetize my Instagram account by making an effort to understand how the platform works and putting in the work required to execute the right activities at a high level for a long period of time. Trust me when I say it, if I can do it, anyone can. Now, I'm not telling you this example to say go and make an Instagram account and try and grow to 100,000 subscribers selling enamel pins. Like, that's not the vibe. The point of this video is to give you some inspiration and to show you a few different paths that you can use so that you can apply them to your own context. Another guy that I follow is called Alex and Books, and essentially he has built his audience on Twitter and Instagram and I think LinkedIn by basically curating insights and summaries from books that he read. And it's really good. I follow him for book recommendations. It's great. He posts on Instagram. He posts some of the highlights from the books that he's read, but he's not really creating anything, which is not a bad thing, by the way, Alex, if you're watching this. He's curating. This is great. You don't need to necessarily be a content creator. You can be a content curator. But he's got a large enough audience now that he can basically monetize through whatever means he wants. And he's done it through content curation rather than content creation. Now, there is a problem. There is a problem with content businesses, and that is that content businesses are generally what we call J-curve businesses, which is that at the start, for an unspecified length of time, you're kind of in the negative because you've put in time and effort into doing this thing. So for example, YouTube is a content business. It took me 52 videos and 6 months to get my first 1,000 subscribers. And I wasn't even monetized until 12 months into my YouTube journey, where every single week I was making 1 or 2 videos, and those videos were getting a few dozen, a few hundred, sometimes even a few thousand views. But I was making zero money. It was a pure sinking of time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears into this YouTube channel. It was also fun. I found a way to make it fun, which is my whole philosophy that my book is around. Feel Good Productivity. Wait, where is it? I want to show it off. My book, Feel Good Productivity, How to Do More of What Matters to You. It'll be linked down below, feelgoodproductivity.com if you want to check it out. But my point is, this is a J-curve business because it looks like a J. You're in the negative for a long time, and then you hit an inflection point, and the hope is that you will then go into the positive. This is the same thing with Jack Rains, for example, and also Alex and Books and any of these writer type people. You tend not to make money immediately. You tend to have to put in this period of like negative money because you're investing time and you're not seeing the return and you're hoping for a payoff over time. That's not to say that this is a bad way of starting a side hustle. It's just you have to recognize the fact that it is a J-curve. And in the game of content, there actually aren't really any guarantees because your work also has to be good and it has to hit the right audience. You might not necessarily know that, but this is not a very quick way of making money. If you want a quicker way of making money, what you're looking for is a non-J-curve business, which is, for example, let's say this is time. Let's say this is.
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not with physical products. It's Amazon's other company, Audible. Audible pays me $8,000 to $10,000 every single month in passive income. And I'm not the only one. People like Katrina and Carla, Elena, Renee, all making thousands of dollars a month in passive income using the same system.
Just this past month, I reached $8,000 in revenue, and I'm on track to reach $10,000 in revenue this month.
I've been able to go from 0 to 22K in 7 months. And of course, this completely changed my life.
I do this on a part-time basis, about 5 to 10 hours a week. I earn about 40.
there's money, and you're starting over here, you're looking for something that lets you make money basically immediately. This is a non-J-curve business. And then it could look like this, or it could look like this. Like, it could look like anything, but the point is you don't have that period at the start where you're investing time and money and maybe effort into the thing, and it's not getting you a return just yet. And non-J-curve businesses tend to be service-based businesses. Actually, let's add some more nuance here. Okay, so we've got service, we've got product, and we've got content. We've got those three different types of business. Within service, product, and content, you can have J-curve and you can have non-J-curve businesses. The crucial determining factor is the friction of sales process. And shout out to my friend and mentor, Daniel Priestley, who we also had on the Deep Dive podcast, link up there and down here below, for like introducing me to this model of thinking about business. Let's say you go into the local supermarket and you want to buy some chocolate, and you go to the checkout, you buy the thing, and it's done. Cool. That's a fairly low friction sales process. You just walk in, you pick the thing, and you walk out. Or alternatively, let's say you want to buy something on Amazon. Again, very low friction sales process. You just go on the website, you buy something, and it arrives at your door. When you have a low friction sales process, you tend to get a J-curve business. So for example, a supermarket is a very, very, very J-curve business in that you have to invest a lot of time, money, effort, loads and loads of money into building the premises, getting the stuff, getting the stock, and everything. And then at some point, you're hoping that the low friction sales process means that loads of people will buy from your supermarket, and eventually you'll start to make money. But now imagine, what does a high friction sales process look like? A high friction sales process is when a business has to try and actually convince someone to part with their money. So for example, let's say I'm a web designer and I need to get clients. I have friction to my sales process because I need to go out and find the clients, and I need to hop on a call with them, and I need to see what they want, and I need to understand their requirements. And then once I've done that, I can give them a proposal, and then they can choose to pay me for my services. Loads of friction in that particular sales process because someone is not just handing over their cash for like an easy product. It's a conversation. And that brings us to this whole services stuff, because service businesses tend not to be J-curve businesses. And there are a few different examples here. So side hustle idea number 3 is to be a thumbnail designer. Now, again, the way we make money is by creating value for people who are willing to pay for that value, or people who are delighted to pay for that value. Now, one category of those sorts of people is YouTubers like me. We have money and we're delighted to pay money because we know about the importance of thumbnails. And so if you can be a thumbnail designer for YouTubers, that is a very reasonable way of making money through the internet in a way that's fun and freedom and flexibility and finances and all this kind of fun stuff. And I want to share a couple examples here. So there's this guy, Dil Toma, and there's this article that talks about how this guy at the age of 19 turned designing thumbnails for YouTubers into a full-time job. He began making thumbnails for gaming YouTubers when he was still in school. And when he started off, he would sell one of these thumbnails to his clients for about $15. Then after graduating high school, he was looking for opportunities, and he realized that some other big YouTubers were genuinely advertising for a thumbnail designer. And because he had the experience and the skills and had done the thing, he managed to land that job. And now he charges over $250 for a single thumbnail. And he's got multiple huge YouTuber clients that he's making these thumbnails for, and he's probably making a stupidly insane amount of money. And so this thing that started off as a side hustle, him in school doing thumbnails on Photoshop, probably a pirated version of Photoshop, not gonna lie. No shade, I pirated Photoshop as well back in the day. But he probably just started this off as a side hustle, and now he's able to make several thousand, maybe up to $10,000 a month doing thumbnail design as a service. The other example here is one of the alumni from my part-time YouTuber academy. His name is Matt Brighton, and he's a YouTuber now, but back in the day, he made money on Fiverr designing thumbnails. And in this article, he talks about how he made over $10,000 designing thumbnails for other YouTubers. That's not to say you should go out and become a thumbnail designer, but it is to say that it is an example of a service you can provide to someone who is willing to pay, who is delighted to pay money for that service. I've mentioned this thumbnail design thing a couple of times in videos in the last like 2 years, and we have had lots of people now email us being like, hey, I've redesigned your thumbnails. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And I appreciate the hustle. Mostly they're not very good. If you want to land a YouTuber client.
How to create free landing page.
Hey guys, today I want to show you how to create a beautiful landing page for free. By the end of the video, you will be able to create really nice looking pages like these ones here using a 100% free tool that I will show you. Step 1 is to register a free account at Systeme.io. Just click the link in the description below this video and it will take you to a page like this. Systeme.io is a 100% free tool, and it is a free forever tool which will allow you to get access to a full-featured landing page builder. With Systeme.io, you can create sales funnels, which includes landing pages. It also includes full email marketing functionality to host your online courses, build your websites, as well as some more advanced things such as affiliate program management and marketing automations. I'm going to show you how to use Systeme.io in a lot more detail throughout this tutorial. Step 2 is to find some examples of landing pages that you like and that you potentially want to copy. If you already know exactly what kind of landing page you would like to create, then you can skip ahead using the chapters below to the step where we actually start creating the landing page. A great way to find examples